In this video, we are going to discuss about the ETL testing. These are the key topics we are going to cover. So ETL process and the scope of the ETL testing and process, what we are following in ETL testing, roles and responsibility of an ETL tester, and the key key things what an ETL tester must know. So let's get into the first topic. So ETL process, as we already discussed about it, ETL process happens in the flow of source to staging and staging to data warehouse. From the data warehouse, the data will be pulled into uh, reports or analysis purpose. So the data loading process will happen through ETL tools from source to staging and staging to data warehouse. Either would be ETL tool, ETL mappings or procedures. And at the end, so data warehouse data will be used for reporting or analysis purposes. The when we discuss about the scope of ETL testing, right? So in this, so the first thing is what we need to ensure that it would be schema validation of staging database. We need to ensure that it's whether the particular table schema can accommodate the multiple or in different source format source data. So we have to make sure that the data type of source and data type of staging and length of the precision and everything we need to make sure as part of the schema validation. And the next would be the data model testing at the end. So after staging to staging data validation, so data model testing would happen. So we need to ensure that the data model implemented or built based on the business requirements, whether it is meeting our need or not. So with different either it could be dimensional or relational data model, so we need to make sure that so everything is correct for the right reporting or analysis purposes. Apart from that, so from source to staging validation will be done by data load testing. So by running the job and ensuring that is so whatever record data from source to staging load happens properly. The similarly like staging to data warehouse, then I will be validating the reports of the um, uh, end users and web services testing. So in some what happens is sometimes from the data warehouse API web services will be built where those API web services can be consumed by downstream systems for their business need. So the ETL testing process is normally like other type of testing. The only difference here is identifying the uh, source and data model and everything. Apart from that, so we will be preparing SQL queries and executing SQL queries and involving with the ETL tools. So let's start with the estimation process. Estimation happens based on the number of tables, complexity of business rules, and volume of the data what we are going to move from source to staging, and the performance of the job. So there would be some assumption happens here, and we'll discuss in different video how we can do the estimation for an ETL testing project. And the next one would be planning. So like other testing process, we need to identify the in scope, out scope, and what are the dependencies and what are the risk and mitigation plans. So let's take an example of you are in a project so where they are moving the data from source to staging and staging to data warehouse, and from data warehouse they are taking data uh, to reports and creating web services where data will be pulled from data warehouse. But Your scope would be only staging to data warehouse validation. In that case, so we'll be considering the data correctness testing, data load and data correctness testing between staging to data warehouse, and other items stage source to staging, and data warehouse to report or web services testing will be out of scope for us. And in this case, so the dependency would be, so we need to have the test data available for our staging to data warehouse testing. It should be in the staging database. And the risk, there are multiple types of risk. So test data unavailability and volume of test data, and tester unavailability likewise. And test design, so test design happens based on the mapping document, which will be shared by business team or a development team. So we'll be deriving the test scenarios, and the skill script will be prepared for each test cases. So basically, mapping document contains the mapping between source table and target table columns with um, appropriate transformation rules. And as part of execution process, so we'll be running the ETL jobs, and we have to monitor the job run, and we need to run execute the skill script before run and after run, after ETL job run, and defect logging, retesting, and doing the regression testing for all the tables, so whatever impacted tables. And the closer activity as usual, so giving the sign off and uh, promoting the code to next phase. When we talk about the roles and responsibility on when you take it as a high level, yes, it is a normal testing process. We need to understanding requirement, we need to do the estimation planning, we need to prepare the test case, we need to execute the test case and give the sign off. And during the execution also, logging, clarification, and defect triage call status, and everything will come under the ETL tester roles and responsibility. And apart from that, right, so roles and responsibility, when you say ETL test, I'm a ETL tester, you must know the below things very clearly. So to these are the important areas where we should know to showcase ourselves as a ETL. We are good in ETL side, ETL concept. So let's start with the um, must know items. So first one would be data warehouse concept and data model, and within the data model, so what are types of data model, and the data model of processes, how they are doing the data model activity, and what testing need to be done to make sure that the data model is correct, and in the ETL process, and different types of ETL transformations. The next one is very crucial and heart of the ETL tester would be SQL knowledge. We should have the thorough knowledge on SQL, and along with the knowledge of performance tuning. So little bit we should know. So when we write a query for multiple query with multiple joins, we should know the node to fine tune to reduce the performance. And PLSQL basics, and the different types of ETL tools, and the final one would be a must one for current competitive world. So we should know that either any scripting language where you can do the automation activity. That's all.